You guys showed an overwhelming amount of support for part one of this series. And so much so that I decided I wanted to do a part two for you guys. In 24 hours, you made part one the most viewed video on my entire channel. Subscribers went out about 50 overnight. It was an absolute miracle and it was incredible. So I put up a poll. You guys said that you wanted part two tonight. I was originally planning on Thursday. I decided on tonight because we had a few pretty solid names enter the portal today. So we're going to talk about some of the bigger names. We're going to recap part one. But if you guys are new to my channel, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Let's take a look at who I think are some of the top names that we haven't talked about yet and where I think they could end up going. Quick recap, if you missed part one, I think Riley Leonard goes to Notre Dame. A lot of rumors there. I believe he's having a visit there this week. Cam Ward to Auburn. I know a lot of people are on that Ohio State train. I am not one of those people. I think Will Howard will be the Ohio State quarterback. Dylan Gabriel to Oregon. I think this would be an absolute match made in heaven with that air raid offense that they have. Tyler Van Dyke to Washington State. Tyler Shaw, who has committed to Louisville. So we are 1 for 1 of all the guys that have committed. Kyle McCord to A&M. It looks like Nebraska could be that team. Will Rogers to Washington. Will Shepard was one I wanted to talk about. Will Shepard, I personally think, probably goes to Auburn based on all the reports that we're hearing right now. I think that Oklahoma one will be wrong. Juice Wells, Tennessee is the favorite right now. I know some fans were saying that they thought he should go somewhere with a more established quarterback. Tennessee is the front runner for him. Jordan McLeod to Indiana. Grayson McCall looks like he's going to end up at NC State. DJ Uiagalelei, I had him to Michigan State. That one I think is going to be South Carolina. I think that's a really good spot for him. Follow Spencer Rattler. And I will see another quarterback who I think goes to Michigan State. And this one, Dante Moore, I had to Florida State. That one looks like it could be Michigan. And then BJ Green to Georgia. So those were the part one guys. This is going to be a lot less quarterbacks and a lot more skill positions, defensive guys. So let's go ahead and get into it with the first guy. That's going to be Traemore from UTSA. One of the more underrated defenders in this entire transfer portal cycle right now. Coming off a 14-sack season with the Roadrunners, where they were actually a really, really good squad. I think UCLA makes a lot of sense. They've got the Murphy twins as well as Laiatu Latu, all likely headed to the NFL. They're going to have to go get another edge rusher. I think Traemore has got good size, good quickness, kind of fits what UCLA wants to do off the edge, been super productive against lesser competition. I think he goes to the Big Ten now as UCLA is joining that conference, will play against some of the best teams in the country. I think it's a really good spot for him, and I think Traemore to UCLA will be a really solid pickup. My next prediction is Brock Vandergriff. Now, this one is as good as done, it looks like. I think he probably goes to Kentucky. A guy who was a pretty high recruit coming out of high school, ends up committing to Georgia, sitting behind Stetson Bennett. Carson Beck wins the starting job this year. He enters the transfer portal, and by all accounts, he's going to end up at Kentucky. Only threw for 165 yards, 2 touchdowns this season. Didn't play much, but Kentucky, they got Devin Leary last year in the portal. Looks like Brock Vandergriff is going to be the next Kentucky quarterback. So wanted to throw him on here. Let's move on to the next one. That's going to be Taylon Green from Boise State. I really like Wisconsin as a fit here. Wisconsin is a team that has one of the longest bowl streaks in all of college football. I think they are looking for that next quarterback. Taylon Green is a very athletic guy. He can move. He's got great size and a good arm. Not the greatest numbers last year for Boise State. About 1,800 yards, 57% completion, 11 touchdowns, 9 picks. But a guy who I think could be a really solid player. I think he could fit exactly what Wisconsin wants to do. If they bring back Ches Malusi, I think you could have a nice combo there with RPO situations. I think Taylon Green to Wisconsin is a really, really solid move. So that's my prediction there. This one's a bit interesting. I do think Taylon Green is going to be a guy that a lot of teams are looking for due to his athleticism. We'll see if he can have a better season. A couple years ago, had a really good year for Boise State. Bit of a down 2023. We'll be curious to see if he bounces back. Next, we've got Josh Kelly, one of the more underrated receivers in this transfer portal. We've got a few guys here that we're going to talk about. Washington State receiver, had a really, really solid season. Now, a former guy who played for Fresno State ended up going to Washington State. Now he's on the transfer portal. I think USC makes a ton of a ton of sense. And USC has been a team that has been looking for receivers the last few years. They got Jordan Addison in the portal from Pitt. This past season, they got both Brendan Rice as well as Dorian Singer in the transfer portal. And I think Josh Kelly could be that next guy. They love to recruit in conference, Washington State, a Pac-12 team that has gotten to match up with USC. I think he fits what this Lincoln Riley team wants to do. Had almost 1,000 yards on the season with 61 receptions, 8 touchdowns. USC is going to need some receivers, for being honest. You got Zachariah Branch there, but Singer, you've got Mario Williams, and you've probably got Brendan Rice, all probably headed to the NFL. Josh Kelly, a really solid name, a really solid weapon. I think he makes a lot of sense to go to USC. So I've got him as the next member of the Trojans. Aiden Chile's out of Oregon State. I think he's the guy who goes to Michigan State. It looks like he wants to go reunite with the head coach, Jonathan Smith, who just took that Michigan State job. A really young quarterback, didn't play much, but when he was on the field, looked really good. Almost 69% completion, which is really nice. 4 touchdowns, 309 yards, limited snaps. I believe he's a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. Really solid piece here. And I think Michigan State, we talked about it with the DJ piece. They're looking to make a big splash move. I think this could be the guy. He could be that next quarterback for this squad that can help take them to that next level. So I've got Aiden Chile going to the Spartans. Next up, we got Dquan Finn. Now, Dquan Finn's a very interesting player. Toledo, only 2 losses on the season, 1 to Miami, Ohio in the conference championship game, 1 in a game-winning field goal by Illinois in the first game of the season. Finn has some really solid upside, though. A solid runner with the football, good arm, pretty accurate with the football, 64% completion nearly. Had 22 touchdowns and 9 picks for the Rockets this year. I think Miami is the team that makes a lot of sense to me. They're looking for that next quarterback. He's a dual threat piece. I think I don't think they want a young guy. I think they want a guy that can kind of come in and try and make this team competitive because they got the defense. They've got some solid pieces on this team. I think Mario Cristobal wants to try and get some wins on this squad. So I think Dquan Finn makes a lot of sense here. The Hurricanes have been pretty disappointed with the Tyler Van Dyke play, to say the least, over the last few years. And I think Dquan Finn could go in and be an instant upgrade for this team in a lot of ways. Goes to higher competition where he can try and improve his draft stock. I think it's a really, really solid move. So I've got Dquan Finn to Miami. The next one, we've got Robert Lewis, who is, in my opinion, the most underrated receiver in this entire cycle right now. From Georgia State, I've got him going to Liberty. We saw Jamari Thrash last year, a Georgia State receiver, transfer to Louisville. He was incredible. Liberty is a very, very interesting team because over the last few years, this is a Liberty team that has played excellent football. They've been able to add some really solid recruits. We know that Robert Lewis has already received an offer from Liberty. I think this actually makes a lot of sense. Robert Lewis is a guy who can be a number 1 receiver on this team, and Liberty's got a chance to contend for the college football playoff next year. Now, I say that because there's a 12-team playoff, and the highest-ranked non-Power 5 team will get in. Liberty would be in the playoffs if it was this year. You bring back a lot of your guys. You add some big recruits. Next thing you know, this team could be right in the mix. They were incredible this year. I believe they had an undefeated season. And Robert Lewis, a receiver who I really, really like, really quick, 70 receptions on the season with 7 touchdowns and almost 900 yards for a Georgia State team that wasn't that incredible. I think he could be a really, really solid piece for a team. So I've got him going to Liberty. I think he's going to be a sleeper that is going to really impress some people coming next draft cycle. Then we've got Bo Collins, a receiver who I actually liked quite a bit coming into this year. Great size. I believe he's around 6'3". He's got a long arms, good catch radius, had 8 touchdowns on the year with 684 yards for Clemson. I think Mississippi State's the spot for him. Mississippi State doesn't have their number 1 receiver. He goes from ACC to SEC competition, which I think is excellent for him. And originally I had Notre Dame. I'm blanking on the name, but I believe I think it's Chris Mitchell, the FIU receiver. He went to Notre Dame. Bo Collins could still be in that mix, but I think Mississippi State, an SEC school with a new head coach looking to make a splash, I think Bo Collins could be that move. They're probably going to add a quarterback in this portal as well. So I think those are 2 moves that could be really, really solid. And I like Bo Collins quite a bit, as I mentioned. A receiver who I had a day 3 grade on. I thought he could go in the 5th round this year. and I think he could be a really solid piece and definitely improve his stock next year. So I've got him to Mississippi State. Then we've got Chris Brazzle, the second out of Tulane. Another really good receiver, 711 yards, 5 touchdowns on the year for the Green Wave. West Virginia is my pick here. West Virginia is a team that I don't think is getting enough love because I think they've got some really solid defenders, a good offense. They've got a young running back there. This is the West Virginia team that's on the up. And I think adding a big transfer receiver could take this team to the next level in that Big 12. West Virginia had a really, really good year. They've got a stud safety in Aubrey Miles. And I like some of the pieces they've got there. And I think adding a number 1 receiver, he is a bit small in frame, but I think he could be an excellent addition to this squad. So I've got him going to West Virginia. I think the Mountaineers are going to make a splash, and I think Chris Brazzle could be that guy. Next up, we've got Bryson Barnes, the pig farmer from Utah. I've got him going to Iowa. Iowa's going to go get another white quarterback. It happens every year. He was okay. Kind of came in for Cam Rising's injury. Played all right, 12 touchdowns, 9 picks, under 60% completion. Not ideal. Iowa just needs a game manager. If he cannot turn the ball over, I think he works. I mean, probably better than Cade McNamara, Spencer Petras as well. I think Iowa's going to try and get another quarterback. Hopefully he can save that offense and they can score 20 points a game next year. But I don't have very much high hopes. I've got Bryson Barnes to the Hawkeyes. Then we've got Patrick Payton. This was the one move that I was like, oh, very, very surprised that he went there. Florida State, for one, has done a really, really good job at producing edge rushers the last 2 years. You think Jermaine Johnson, you think Jared Verse, who's going to be a top 20 pick in next year's draft. Patrick Payton had a really good year for them, and actually it's coming off a really good game just last week against Louisville. I believe, fun fact about Patrick Payton, he broke the record for pass deflections for an interior defensive lineman, I believe, in the FBS with 10 this year. So really impressive numbers. He's got great instincts. The guy I was actually looking at his tape just last night, super quick off the edge. And this is the Deion move. I was talking to my good friend, the mock draft guy. He mentioned Alabama. I could definitely see that, but I think Colorado is going to be a move here. Florida State and Colorado have that connection because of Deion. Deion's looking for some studs on that defense, some guys that can create pressure, and guys that can protect on that offensive line. Patrick Payton, I think, is the best edge rusher that we have seen come out thus far. He's got good size, great quickness, 6 sacks, a forced fumble on the year. He's going to be one of the hottest names in the portal. I think the Buffaloes would be a really, really good spot if they're able to get him. Deion is going to make a big splash. He's going to get somebody. I think Patrick Payton has a very real opportunity to be that guy. Then we've got Jamari Macklin, one of the more underrated receivers, again, from North Texas. Had 1,000 yards this year, 11 touchdowns. I think he's going to Texas. Texas is probably going to have 3 receivers declare for the draft in Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, and Jordan Whittington. They're going to need to replace it. Keep the kid in state, Jamari Macklin. You're going to probably have Quinn Ewers back. You're going to have some really solid pieces. And this is a guy who could be that really good Xavier Worthy replacement, a slot or an outside guy who's got great speed, deep ball threat. I think he would be an excellent spot here. So I've got him going to Texas. I think he is going to get a really, really good offer to one of these big schools and be a really solid piece. Next, we've got Walter Nolan, who was one of the top recruits in all of high school football. Didn't play much for Texas A&M, 23 tackles, 4 sacks on the year. I think he's got LSU written all over him. SEC school that really struggled defensively this year. If you pair Walter Nolan with Harold Perkins, that could be lights out. Harold Perkins is an unbelievable prospect. I think early on, if I had to put him anywhere, I think he would be my number 1 player in next year's draft. He is out of this world good. Walter Nolan, one of the top defensive linemen in all of college football. I think he would be excellent for LSU, a team that's looking to try and rebuild that defense, an area that really, really struggled for them this year that we thought was going to be a really solid unit. Hasn't been what they were expecting. I think Walter Nolan would be an unbelievable pickup for the Tigers. Then we've got Andrew Makuba, another guy that I was surprised didn't go to the NFL because I thought he was an NFL prospect. I thought he was a day 2 guy, round 2, round 3. And I think Michigan. Rod Moore probably headed to the NFL. This is a Michigan team that has actually been active in adding secondary pieces over the last few years. You think Josh Wallace, who they got from UMass, they made some moves in that secondary. Makuba has some slot versatility, can play safety, can kind of play anywhere on that defense. I think he's a really athletic piece, can play anywhere, 6 pass deflections on the year. I think Michigan would be in a really prime position to land a stud defensive back like Andrew Makuba. Then we've got Raheem Sanders, and he is going to be the last guy on this. I think he's got Alabama written all over him. A lot of people are saying he's coming home to Florida. I could see Florida State being a real option, but Alabama, you think Alabama, this team is known for running backs. You think Jahmyr Gibbs last year, our first-round pick. You got Najee Harris. You've got Josh Jacobs. The list goes on. Didn't really have that elite running back. Jason McClellan had some solid moments. Raheem Sanders, you're going to look at these numbers this year and be like, this is not good. Got injured later in the season. Was not used the best way that he could. This is a powerful runner. He's got excellent strength, good balance, and great vision, and excellent feet. Alabama, who was able to get Jahmyr Gibbs from Georgia Tech, I think you could steal him from Arkansas, and he could take this team, who is in the college football playoff, to the next level. I think Raheem Sanders is a game changer. I think right now is the best player in the transfer portal, any position. I think he is going to be an absolute monster for whoever is able to get him. Florida State's a good option, but I think Alabama is going to be the next home of Rocket Sanders. That's going to do it for me, guys. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.